So I have always said China is super safe, but, and there is a but, and you do need to know what I'm sharing with you in this video. So welcome back, this is me, Ian, here in Beijing, and I'm currently walking along this long road here. It's called Chaoyang North Road here in Beijing, and I'm going to walk about 4 miles. I'm walking from Sanlitun to Chaoyang Joy City shopping mall. Why am I doing that? Well, because I've never actually walked this road, and it's also a very, very nice day, so I like to walk. Walking's good for you. So as I was saying, China is super safe, and you can freely walk around cities and other locations, villages and so on, day and night, and you would be safe. And there is no doubt about that. I have lived here for 8 years, and I have visited and been in over 20 cities, been in rural areas and so on, and the experience for me has always been the same, super safe. However, you do need to be aware of a few things if you do decide to take a trip to come and visit China, which I would recommend absolutely. So the things that I'm sharing with you now on this video is more about people trying to maximise their return from you being a tourist. Or as some people would say it, it's about avoiding being ripped off. Now China does have a culture where money plays a big part, and the generation, saving, spending, utilisation of money is very openly spoken about. Just like being a tourist mind, in any place you do have to be aware and also be ready to negotiate what you actually want to pay for things, or even if you actually want to buy it in the first place. But remember, unlike many other places where you would be a tourist, you do not have to worry about being attacked or robbed, because that is highly unlikely to happen here in China. But always be cautious, because there are nasty people no matter where you go in this world. If you are in Beijing or another big tier 1, tier 2 city, be aware that you might have a pretty lady approach you, talk to you, usually with some good English. They will walk and talk to you, offer to help you, then after a while they may talk you into visiting a tea shop, and at this point you will get charged an extortionate amount of money for the tea that you both drink. And yes, I do mean tea. People fall for this because it sounds safe, and it is tea, just very expensive tea. When I first came to Beijing, I was walking down Wong Fujing Street here in Beijing, and an older American guy asked me to help him, as he'd fallen for this and spent something like 600 RMB, almost 60 quid or so, on tea, and he could not get rid of the lady, and he feared he was being ripped off, and he was being ripped off. And I kindly explained to the lady to leave and walk for the guy until he was calm and able to go on and enjoy the rest of his time here in Beijing, China. So that's an example. I had known about the tea ladies before, because I was told, be aware. Plus, I would always be sceptical of meeting any lady on the street like that, so I would not be too friendly. It ain't my bag, man, as they say. However, I did fall for the other thing that you need to be careful of, and that is the equivalent of the tea lady, and that is what I would call the local art craft dealers. These are usually smart, educated, older people using the same tactics, talk to you and so on, but they will talk to you in a way that you're obviously speaking to somebody educated, and they will ask you to come and see a local gallery or a local store, craft store. I was walking down the side of the Forbidden City years ago and encountered this, and I was passing by the art gallery, and so I agreed to have a quick look, but once I was in the art gallery it was a hard sell. Very much like a timeshare apartment in Benidorm in Spain, that type of sales approach, very hard sell. I have to say the artwork was excellent, but I was not sure the validity of what I would be buying, and I couldn't definitely fully understand the price, but I just had a hunch that it was very expensive. Didn't have a lot of money, so I passed on buying anything and got out as quick as I could. You can also get the same approach, similar in style, where people would talk to you, ask if they could be your local tourist guide, and again, if you agree, you could be charged a whole lot of money for something that you could get elsewhere for less. That said though, I have heard some people accept the local guide and turned out that they were fantastic, cheaper, and the quality was very informative, so it's your choice. If you are looking for a qualified guide, then there are many places where you can hire one, your local hotel, online or through some local contacts. Just be aware that if you do use a guide, an official guide or not, they may take you to restaurants or shops or locations that they have local agreements with, and obviously if you spend money, they will make money. A little bit of a backhander, if you like, and that happens all the time. I guess that is just commerce around the world, and also here at the end of the day here in China, just the same. And you've got to respect that desire to make money. So a more scrupulous approach to be aware of are the people, male and female, who will approach you at night around a bar, in the bar areas and stuff, and ask you if you want to go to a lady bar. And again, I'm not the type of person to fall for that, but I've known people that I have, and if you agree, they're going to take you to a real bar. Again, they will get a cut of what you spend, and the beers are very, very expensive, so you will be safe. And note, it's just not what you think when they say a lady bar, as far as I'm aware. Although I would caution, I was getting a tattoo in a place here in Beijing, a tattoo and midlife crisis thing, and it was a recommended area place, and it was inside an apartment in a tower block, and in there there was also some bars that were apartments, and they opened at night, late at night, and I could imagine that if some people offer you, then you might end up in some of these places again. You might be safe, I just don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, my advice would be stay well clear of these people approaching you. And if you want a simple technique, just say bo 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 bo, or boya, which basically means I don't want it. My tip for the day. Okay, I'm going to pause, stop walking while I tell you this next point, because it's very, very serious. I would advise you to stay well clear of the other people, often foreigners, that might step out of a dark corner somewhere and ask you if you need anything. Now, I haven't seen that since COVID, but I'm just forewarning you. These used to be the real bad people, and stay well clear of them. I was told that they were possibly the drug dealers. You get caught anywhere near drugs in China, then it is big trouble for you, and quite rightly so. And if you understand the Opium Wars, where Britain took advantage of China during that period of time, then you would definitely understand. And I reckon you should research that. And another thing, did you know that the opium at that time, where Britain was the biggest economy with the empire on the planet, that more than 1/5 of their economy was built on opium? They don't teach you that in the high school, eh? Anyway, so I've done the quick research for you. During its history, China has never been a coloniser. Sure, its borders have expanded and contracted over many years of its existence, like most countries over hundreds and thousands of years, but it's never set its ships off to colonise faraway lands. The ships it did send off to sail the high seas were always traders. China's characteristic has always been trading. They have excelled at this. Most of their history, they have exported much more than they have imported. This was the case with the British Empire in the mid to the late 1800s. The British Empire imported a lot from China, but China didn't need anything of what the British had to offer. That meant there was a massive trade imbalance. The British needed to force a market into China that they could serve. The market was opium, heroin. Britain swamped China with opium and then sold in opium. This is your typical drug dealer approach. The Chinese government made opium illegal. Britain didn't like that, and because Britain had a mighty navy, they defeated China and forced terrible, awful sanctions on China. That included taking control of key Chinese ports. After this, China was attacked by many countries from the West. China was poor, weak, and was being ransacked by many European countries and the USA. This was known as the century of humiliation. China has come back from that dark period, and in the last 50 years, China has once again standing tall in the world stage. The West doesn't like that. So what happens next? That's my concern. That sounded very, very scary there. But again, just remember, on the whole, China is super safe, and 99.98% of the time you will be safe in China as a tourist. You will not be robbed, pickpocketed, or physically harmed. But if you are that tourist, you should always be aware of your surroundings and aware of the people around you, and that's no different here in China or anywhere else. A couple of other quick pointers. When looking for a taxi, stay away from the unofficial taxis. They will charge you a lot, and again, you will be safe, but you will get ripped off possibly if you're not sensible, and that's the same in any country. Stay away from the unofficial taxis. If you grab a normal taxi, make sure the meter is on, and if you are using cash, just be aware of where the taxi driver takes his change from. He should have a wallet of money visible, and at the end of the journey he should give you the change from there. If he takes it from his pocket, then refuse it and ask him to give you it for or from his wallet, his money that should be visible. Because I've heard some people got past fake money, and it's never happened to me, but again, just be aware. One thing to note, the taxi driver should print you a receipt at the end of the journey. It's called a fapiao. Take the receipt and thank the driver. Note, the driver will not expect a tip because China is a no-tip society, but I do tip taxi drivers because it's a decent thing to do. And one other thing, it's a cashless society, and that solves a lot of the fake money issue. And if you are visiting, you can now link your credit card to WeChat and Alipay, which are the two main cashless payments here in China, the two main apps. So link it up and just use WeChat would be my recommendation, but Alipay, WeChat, it's much the same thing. So last thing here, last pointers. When you are in market malls, like the couple that are here in Beijing, there's one called the Silk Road Market, the other is called the Pearl Market. Be prepared to haggle down the price and be aware that you might not always be buying the legitimate thing. So again, if you're not savvy, you will be ripped off. And also, if you are a tourist and you're shopping at a tourist spot and you are shopping for some gifts, then again, you can haggle down the price, because I believe some of the prices are increased if you're a foreign tourist. Usually when I'm in a tourist shop, I usually don't really haggle because to be honest, I can afford the extra couple of quid that it costs, and I'm happy doing that because it is a no-tip culture. So I think it's a decent thing to do, helps out that local trader. I really hope that these small insights help you navigate any trip that you plan to come to China. Please remember, I am talking about the extremes here. On the whole, China is a beautiful, safe place to visit. You will be able to walk around and travel from city to city without any fear. And you will absolutely love that experience. And at the moment you can get a 144-hour entry visa into China, and I would recommend you build a holiday here in Asia around a trip into China, and you will see what is a beautiful, fantastic country. Anyway, this is me, Ian, here in Beijing, wishing you all the best. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and as always, peace out. I'm away to buy a pair of training shoes.